Okay, so session one, and I kind of fucked up the recording. So there you are. This time I made sure not to fuck up the recording though, so we're gonna be good. All right. Anyways, basically, to start with, so what we're trying to do today, obviously, is we're trying to do Medusa Fate. Trying to model this character from Fate. We're gonna be using this image as a reference. Uh, what do we want to do? Do we want to have it in a thing? To make it faster, what we're going to do is going to save image as, just save it over here. WebP, we're going to convert it. So what we're going to do here is what something a lot of modders do. I didn't do it last time because Tatsumaki really isn't that complicated. Go over here. And you're just going to save as, you're going to save as PNG because nothing uses WebP, so yeah, be careful. Once that's done, go into Blender. Press add, we're gonna use texture. Yeah, we're gonna use texture. Add mesh plane. So this over here. We're gonna just move it around a bit to fit the image. Move it behind your character. Okay, that's a bit big. Alright, forward. So make sure that you've got like the reference image behind your character. Make sure like it's fitting, it's matching the character's scale. Actually, I think ours is a little small, so we're gonna scale ours up. Oh no, ours is perfectly fine. It's fine. Okay. Was you, wasn't it? Alright. So once you're done scaling up your thing, move it to the sides. Go add the material to it. Then change the material, change the base color thing over here to an image texture. Open out. And then we're gonna select the image we downloaded earlier. So now what we downloaded was the rider0.png. As you can see, it's right here. This should work fine. We're gonna make sure that it's not rendering things as opaque. I can't remember how to do that. So we're just gonna keep it like this. We're just gonna make it properly colored because I don't like it. It's distracting. Standard. So here we are. We have our reference image behind the thing. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna start modeling. And as always, like last time, if you weren't here last time, what you usually do is you do add mesh cube. So go over here, select the cube, shrink it down, move it to the opposite, to move to the side. What you want to do is select the top, the side face, and the bottom face. Make sure you're in face selection mode over here, and just press delete and select faces, delete faces, with the delete key, obviously. So once that's done, we're going to add two modifiers to our model. We're going to add the mirror modifier first. And the mirror modifier, you don't have to do anything with it, just keep it as it is. And the second one we're going to add is we're going to add the subdivision surface modifier. So this one here. I usually set it to 2. Most modders set it to 1. I'm going to set it to 2 because it's faster. Once that's done, we can go back into edit mode. Oh yeah, actually in a mirror modifier, make sure that clipping is selected. Why do we want clipping? Because if you go into edit mode and you move things together, you can see that they actually seem to merge together. If you don't select clipping, they're not gonna merge, they're just gonna go through. Your mirror things are able to go through to the other side. We don't want that in this case. because our thing is perfectly mirrored. So just move them, press clipping and move them together. Once that's done, uh, just for as you're modeling, only focus on one side at a time until you're done with all sides, and then we can focus on making it fit the body. So what we're gonna do here now is we're gonna just move the mesh over here around to fit the body shape. As you can see, there's a body shape down here, so we're just gonna move a mesh to make it fit over here like this. And then press E to extrude to make a new set of faces. So you press E and you extrude, and then you move your mouse downwards, because in this case we're trying to make the little skirt she has. And we're just going to add one more over here, just for good measure. Actually, no, I think that's a bit too much. We're just going to move this down here. And then once again, on the top, right now we're only focusing on the sides on the front, on how it looks on the front. Afterwards, we're going to be focusing on how it looks on the sides. So once you're done with that, press E, extrude, and then move it upwards. Move it upwards. We're going to keep moving it upwards until it's about upper breast level, because that's how it looks in a reference art. So let's move it upwards a bit more. And just like that, it's done. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to focus on the back. So as you can see, it's clearly on the side, as you can see, it's clearly not fitting this body shape. So what we want to do now is we're going to just move the vertices to fit our body shape. Like so. Once that's done, make sure to do it on the back too, obviously. I'll show you how to do something in a bit. Just give me 1 second and we're gonna... I'm not remaking the mesh. Yes, that's what's gonna happen, Valinor. So what happens when you extrude is you're just gonna move it to the correct level you want. And then once you've extruded, just select the vertices you want on the sides. And that should also work. If how you're trying to do it doesn't work. Once that's done, we're just gonna keeping, we're still moving the things along. Just making them fit the body shape. As you can see, once we've done this, as you can see over here, there don't seem to be enough vertices. So what I'm about to do here is make sure to pay attention, because we're going to do something a bit important. Hover over the center of the faces that you want to add an extra line on, and then you just press Control R. And as you can see, there's a yellow line that appears. We're going to click once, and we're going to click twice. And now we've added an extra line. This is called an edge loop. So now we're able to fit the body to the ass, I guess. I don't know. And there we are. So as you can see, mesh is already starting to come together. It's obviously a bit rudimentary. It's it's not fitting greatly to the body right now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add some vertices. We're gonna add some edge loops. So press Control R on the center of the sides. We're gonna add one edge loop. On the center, on the front, we're gonna add one edge loop too. And then on the back, we're also gonna add one edge loop. Now, once we've done this, you'll see that on the corners, the mesh isn't fitting. So we're gonna have to move the corners a bit. Move it inwards, usually. On the breast, we're gonna have to move it a bit outwards, it seems. Once that's done, obviously, as always, make sure that your mesh is fitting. Over here, I don't think it's fitting very well. So we're just gonna move this. Just like that. Once that's done, Make sure, as always, continue making sure that the mesh fits the body. I'm gonna be using an edge loop is just like a set of edges. Really, is that's all. Um, that's it really. Then an edge of ledges. Fuck. A set of edges that are just logically connected together, and that's it really. Once that's done, we're just going to keep moving around the vertices, just trying to make them fit. Try and reduce clipping as much as possible, but just in case, we're going to be using a modifier in a bit anyways, that we used last week called shrinkwrap. If you weren't here last week, then I'll be showing you how to do it. If you are here last week, you can try doing it yourself in your own time if you're ahead of me, which I don't think you are, but you know, just in case. Once that's done, just move vertices, obviously. Keep moving with vertices. This is obviously the main mesh for what we're doing right now. Once that's done, as you can see on the Medusa for her breasts, they move a bit inwards, so we're just going to do that over here. We're going to add an extra edge loop on the front of the body, like this, and we're just going to move the vertices in. Just going to move it in like this. Going to press Shift E to make it a bit sharper. Shift E it determines the edge crease. So if you move it out, you can see that the insides of the breast, the turn is like getting sharper. Because subdivision always smooths things out, but we want it a bit sharper this time around. So just move it sharper like this. Unless we're going to move it downwards, or do we want to move it upwards? We're going to move it upwards on the center of the breast. So just move it upwards like this. Move the mesh upwards, just a tiny bit. I'm gonna actually do we want to do it like that? Let's see. We're gonna do it like that, yeah. So just move the mesh upwards, like so. Just gonna reduce this. Make sure it sticks to the breast as always. Once that's done, as always, make sure to reduce the clipping. So in this case, I think I might need to move this one upwards to reduce the clipping a bit. There we are. So you can see we've nearly got our shape ready. We do need to modify the shape on the breast a bit more. But once that's done, we're gonna get around to we are recording, yes. I'm recording this time. So now we have like the shape of the body, general shape. It's not exactly perfectly form-fitting though. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna be using a shrink wrap modifier just to do the last little bit for us. So press add modifier, and we're gonna use shrink wrap over here. This modifier, and as you can see, it hasn't changed anything. That's because we need to press this little pen eyedropper thing here and select the body. Now, as you can see, it's clipping for everything. It's kind of ruined our mesh. Everybody panic. I'm just kidding. What you do is you press, so firstly, press nearest wrap methods, change it to target, normal project. Snap mode is going to be outside service. And we're going to change the offset to 0.001. Or is it 0.01? I think it's 0.00. We're going to do 0.002 in our case. Just like that. Perfect. As you can see, there are some bits that are shrink wrapping that we don't want to be shrink wrapped. So what we're going to do is just go over here, go into weight paint modes, and we're just going to create a vertex group that is only weight painted on the things that we want to be shrink wrapped. So subtract the bottom because we don't want the skirt to be shrink wrapped. And also the top, we don't want the breasts to be shrink wrapped, it's already close enough. Once that's done, you can go over here in vertex group, just select the vertex group we've just created. And now, as you can see, it's only shrink wrapping areas that we want to be shrink wrapped. Now, once that's done, oh, we're just going to change the back of it. I think on the back it goes down, it goes downwards. So we're just going to move the vertices on the back downwards, just like so. Over here, we're just going to press normal. Okay. Make sure it's the same thing over here. All right. So that's the dress done, more or less. Does obviously seem a bit more angular on the front for the breasts, so we're just going to reduce the curve here a tiny bit, just like that. Should be fine. Yep. As you might be able to see that on Medusa's body picture over here, that she has like a little not really sure what it would be called, but she has a thingy over here. So what we're gonna do in that case to recreate this is real quick. We're just gonna make sure that it's not shrink wrapping on the top, because we can't have it shrink wrapping on the top. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna subtract around the top like this, like so. Right, just like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to select, oh, hang on a sec. Now can we, I don't know. Oh, let's take a quick look at this. We're just going to, once again, move this downwards. And we're going to have to move the vertices a bit to fit. So just in edit modes, go over here. Select vertices you have to move. And just move them. I'm using proportional edit mode. It's this little circle up here. Okay, so that's what I use usually. You can use other things like sculpting, for example, but I use proportional editing. It's just faster for me. Once that's done, what we want to do is we want to just gonna move this downwards. Press double G to move vertices on an edge. So you press G twice. Once that's done, we're gonna go over here. We're gonna press Control R on this bit. We're gonna move it a tiny bit downwards. We're gonna do edge, mark seam. We're gonna hover over like an vertex above it in the area we want, and then just press L. And in select linked, you're gonna press select. We're gonna delimit seam. Oh, seam, like so. Once that's done, what we want to do is we want to solidify faces. And we're gonna make the thickness minus 0.001. Actually, in our case, we're gonna make it minus 0.002. Or 3 maybe? Yeah, 3 is better. So we're gonna do 0.003. And as you can see, there's now like an extra like thickness like layer to the top over here. We're gonna have to move this up a bit. So hang on. So sorry. Before I solidify, I have to make sure that everything's looking good. As you can see over here, it's a bit too thick. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna move the vertices up to make them look a bit more uniform around the breasts and everything. We're just gonna reduce that a bit more, like so. So once that's done, remember press L and make sure delimit seam is selected. Then we're just gonna do face, solidify faces, set it to like minus 0.003, minus 0.004, it's up to you. But I'm gonna go minus 0.003 in this case. As you can see over here in the center, it's bugging a bit because these have actually passed the center. So what we're going to do is we're just going to move them to the right a bit until they clip, like so. Same thing back here, I think. Oh no, it's actually fine over here. Right, good. So once that's done, we've made this front bit over here. So now we can move on to the arms. So for the arms, what we're going to do is we're going to actually reuse the arms that Genshin characters have. Those are long arms. I didn't notice how long they were. Okay, anyways. So we're doing Lady Sword by the way this time instead of Claymore. But if you weren't using Lady Sword, it doesn't matter. But anyways. So on the arms, what we're going to do instead of having to create the mesh ourselves, we're going to use a mesh that was already created, which is the one on the base body. So what we're going to do is quickly, when you go into base body, instead of, as you can see, everything is tries at the moment. That's just going to make it a bit more difficult to work with. So instead of keeping it like this, what we're going to do is we're going to go into mesh, and we're going to change the, we're going to go to edit modes, make sure to go into face, and then you select tries to quads. It's also an Alt J shortcut. But once you press this, what you'll be able to see is that suddenly now everything is a square instead of a triangle, which is what we want because it's going to be easier to use this way. So once that's done, we're going to select a similar area to what is on the drawing over here. So we're going to select the entire the vertices on the arm, for example. So just select these. Just select these like this. So now selecting the arm. And the top of the hand is also covered with some cloth. So what we're going to do is we're just going to, firstly, let's finish selecting the arms. And then what we're going to do over here is we're just going to select a similar area to how it is on the art. Now we're just going to select a bit more. Just a tiny bit more. That's done. We're going to select the vertices like so, just manually. We're just going to select like a similar area to what's on the art. Like this. And like this. And I assume it goes back around like this. So once that's done, just select the area inside. And make sure to do the same thing for the other arm. So we're just going to select the other arm too. Usually we could mirror it, but I just want to keep the vertex groups. It's going to be faster that way. So we're just going to select all this. Once that's done, once again, select the shape manually. So we're going to move it up by 2, I think. Let's just double check. It was 2, yes. Select the first 2 over here. And I'm going to select, I'm just making sure that it's the same on both sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once that's done, go over here, like this. Oh, hang on. Just making sure everything is selected as usual. Alright, so that's done. Just need to double check that everything is properly selected. This is properly selected, this is not properly selected. So we're just gonna do this. Alright, so once that's done, what you want to do is you want to press Shift D. What this does is that this duplicates the mesh. And we're just going to press P to separate this part that we created. Just P separate. And as you can see, there is now a mesh that looks very similar to what we need. So now what we're going to do, instead, just to make it look like a cloth, it has to, hover over the mesh instead of being a part of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to select everything and we're going to press Alt S. And we're going to move it outwards just a tiny bit like this. We're going to set the offset to 0.001. So what the Alt S key does is that it fattens or it thins the existing mesh. So what we're doing is we're fattening it here, making it a bit thicker, just to represent cloth. So now we've done that, and this is how the mesh looks at the moment. Is it loose? It's not too loose. We're good. So that's our graph mesh. It took a lot less time than the original mesh did. Just a lot less vertices, but that's what happens when you use the original base body for Genshin, which is already very low poly. So we're gonna do the same thing on the feet, except this time around we're only gonna be selecting the leg parts. So go over here. And we're going to be selecting up to the top, so we're going to select about this over here. About this. Just select to the top of our ankles. So around here. We don't need to go any lower. So once that's done, we're just going to Shift D again. Shift D, duplicate. We're going to P, separate it. And what we're going to do is we're going to select everything once we've entered edit mode in the new mesh, and we're going to press Alt S, and we're going to fatten it by 0.001 again. So once that's done, now we need to make shoes. As you can see, the shoes on what's her name, Rido, are an interesting one in that they are just one mesh, so it should be easier than what we usually do. But in any case, make sure to pay attention because shoes is usually a tougher mesh to make. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna firstly create a plane. We're gonna create a plane mesh. This is Medusa from Fate. So create a plane mesh. Shrink it down. We're gonna use 1 foot to model it. So make sure that your thing is like this, and we're gonna remember to use subdivision surface. We're gonna try and keep it to 1 this time because we're gonna have to merge it with a leg later. Leg's not very high poly, so yeah. So firstly, we're just gonna create a basic shape for it. Don't know how you guys think a shoe usually goes, but once you extrude, make sure it's not moving up or down or to the sides. Make sure that it shrinks a bit for the shoe, and we're just gonna extrude, and we're just gonna create. We're gonna make the vertices further apart again on the outsides, and that's it. So once that's done, we're gonna have to extrude upwards a bit. So we're gonna extrude upwards. I'm gonna press A. I'm gonna extrude upwards. And now, so this is just gonna be like our little soul thing. I don't know what it's called really, but that's what it's gonna be. Once that's done, what's next? We have to. Oh yeah, so it seems to be a bit thicker on the bottom. So just make sure to move the vertices up on the bottom part. So just moving up like this, like so. That'll work. So that's our mesh done for this part. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna select all of these vertices, and now for the main shoe, what we're gonna do is we're selecting all of this, and as you know, the soles usually are a bit wider than the rest of the shoe. So to create the rest of the shoe, what we're gonna do is gonna press the I key, and we're gonna move it in a bit, just like so. So now, as you can see, it's a tiny bit wider on the soles. It's not very much wider on Medusa's thing, so we're not going to make it a lot wider. But like so, like this, where we've got like a sole-looking part. So once that's done, we're going to continue moving the thing upwards, just to make the shape fit. So we're just going to select the vertices over here, and we're going to deselect the edges we don't need. Press Shift E. And now we're going to move the sole upwards. We're going to try and cover the foot now. Now what we want to do basically is we want to make sure that feet are covered by the shoes, and that the shoe also keeps, the proper shape that it needs. Let's go down here. Move this down like this. Just to make sure that it's not clipping. So we're gonna move this upwards still. I'm focusing on the back at the moment. You don't have to focus on the back if you want. I am. So once that's done, I'm gonna move the other vertices on the front to make sure it matches what the back has. So like this. Go G, G. Move this like this. Move this like this. And move this like this. So it's not the greatest boot in the world, obviously. It's looks a bit odd really. And that's fine. We're gonna probably use some shrink wrap too on this one because yeah, it's just easier. So we're just gonna move this over here a bit. Just make sure it fits, and then we're just gonna make sure that the vertices are in line with the actual mesh instead of what I'm trying to make it out to be. So on the side over here, for example, it's too wide, so we're gonna move it in. Over here too, move it in. Over here, we want to move it in. This is too wide, the back is too wide, so we're gonna move it in. We're gonna add an extra edge loop in the middle too. Just like so. Gonna move this in too. So once that's done, we want to make sure that everything here is fine. Let's just quickly make sure that. Why is it so wide on the front? Wait. I'm gonna move it in. Oh, that's why. Like so. So yeah, no. So we just we're just moving the mesh around, making sure it fits the ankle, the feet, all that stuff. So just continue. If I don't know where you guys are at the moment, but if you're on this part, just continue moving around the vertices, make sure that they fit the ankles. And at the end, we'll be using a shrink wrap modifier just to make it fit a bit more. But at the moment, just continue trying your best, continue moving it around, like so. Once that's done, we're gonna move it around like this. Just trying to keep it, in line and everything. Okay, so once that's done, we're finally done. We're gonna actually just quickly move these forwards, move these backwards. I mean, just keep. We're gonna make the front a bit more rounded, just to make things look better. So mesh shading smooth. We're gonna just shade smooth just to make things look a bit better than they are. It doesn't look great. It does look amazing. But then again, it's just a black shoe, so at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter that much. We're just gonna make the soles obviously a bit sharp on the edges, like this. That looks better this way. We're gonna move the back a bit back like this. Okay, once that's done, we're gonna obviously add a shrink wrap modifier. So shrink wrap, what's shrink wrap? And we're gonna select once again the body. We're gonna create a vertex group. So create a vertex group. we're just going to hide this real quick. And the vertex group will only cover the top of the shoe because that's all we need. We only need the top to be shrink wrapped, not the bottom. Once that's done, select outside surface, select target normal projects, and then make sure that the offset is 0.01, and then group. So just like that, we have a shoe that looks alright. Looks fine. Doesn't look amazing, but it doesn't have to be perfect. This is a quick mod. So make sure that this level is all perfectly similar, because we're now going to try and merge this mesh and the one up here together. Oh, actually, we're going to try that later, because I need to UV this one first. But what we can do is we can... no, we're going to do it now. Okay, so just apply the modifiers that you have. And we're just going to Control J these two meshes together. So I'm going to make sure that they share the same UV map name, UV0. So once that's done, Control J. And as you can see, this side has more vertices than the other side does. That's fine. What we're going to do is we're just going to move the vertices that we think belong to the upper mesh. We're going to use the snap modifier. Not snap modifier, I mean just the vertex. And make sure that you're not using proportional editing this time around. So just move the vertices together as you move around the mesh. The last lesson was there was an error in the recording, but don't worry, this time around there's not gonna be an error recording because I made sure to record it properly. Okay, let's continue. So we're just gonna move vertices. You can move some vertices together if you want, just like so. And once this is done, we're gonna select all the vertices and we're gonna merge them together. So just continue snapping up to the vertices you want, like this. And same thing here, I'm just gonna snap it to the vertices. Perfect. Okay, once that's done, what we're gonna do is just gonna press select all of these, and we're gonna do M by distance, and just like that, it's now joined those meshes. We're gonna add a seam over here because later we're gonna have to re-UV this. We're gonna have to UV this part. For now, it's gonna say it's gonna be fine now. Once that's done, we're gonna just work on parallel. So now we've done most of the base clothes. What we have left now is these pinkish parts over here that are like the rings or whatever. Oh no, it's not Sonic, but hey, whatever. So it seems to just be one mesh that we can reuse several times. So what we're going to do is we're going to just create one mesh and we're going to shift D it all over the body. So firstly, make sure that you're using, we're going to create a mesh and it's going to be a circle. We're going to select it and we're going to make it 24 vertices. Make sure that it's 24 vertices. Once that's done, go into edit mode. It should already all be selected. If not, press A to select everything. And we're just going to move it upwards. We're going to make it, we're not going to move it to the side, obviously, but we can move it to the side. So once this is done, we're going to press A. And what we're going to do is we're going to do face, solidify faces again this time. Except this time we're going to set it to 0.0. We're going to set it to 0.2, let's say. It's going to be an 0.2 offset for solidify. So once that's done, we're going to select everything and we're just going to press Control V. No, sorry, we're not going to select everything. Select the edges on the sides, like this. In the corners, I mean. Just these ones. And then just press Control V. And we're going to select 2 segments. It just gives it a nice rounded look, which is what we want. So once that's done, This mesh is more or less done. So what we want to do now is we're just going to move it around to different parts of the body that we need. Like so. Make sure that your snap is turned off. As soon as you're done with snap, always make sure to turn it off again. Yes, this lesson is going to be uploaded. So we're going to increase the scale on this one just a tiny bit vertically. Once that's done, we're going to move this around to the top of the arms. I'm going to actually reduce it a bit vertically. We're going to move this to the top of the arms. We're going to scale it up so that it fits on the arms. Just like so. As you can see, it fits more or less perfectly. You just have to move it backwards a bit. And that's it otherwise. Like this. Right? And make sure to move this one downwards. Like this. And we're going to move this one downwards again. We're going to go to scale modes. What we're going to do is we're going to select these faces. Just going to scale it up like this. Right, whatever. As you can see, the one on the armor is a tiny bit thicker or like longer. So we're just going to rotate it back to its original rotation. And we're just going to scale it up a bit, like so. Press SZ, by the way, to scale things up vertically. Make sure to press SZ. So once that's done, we're going to, once again, Shift D, move it downwards. It is wider again. So what we're going to do is we're just going to, on the hands, it's actually a bit thicker too. As you can see, this is, we're gonna have to make this a bit fatter. So remember to press Alt F to fatten a mesh, like they did here. So Alt S, fatten mesh. Move it around a bit, make sure that it fits. We're gonna have to press SY over here because the wrist is wider. So we're gonna scale it up a bit. Like that. Once that's done, we've nearly done everything. We need to just add the same mesh on the legs. Also, what we want to do, as we can see probably, is that, as you can see, it's on the other side, it has the same meshes. Instead of redoing the entire thing again, what we're going to do is we're going to do mesh, and we're going to select symmetrize, mesh, symmetrize. This is like mirroring them without the mirror modifier. Pretty useful if you just want to, mirror some certain meshes instead of a whole thing all the time. Once that's done, we're just going to select another one. We're going to Shift D, duplicate, bring it down over here. Just scale it up, make sure that it fits around the leg, like so. Obviously the leg once again is a bit wider, so we're just going to press SY, scale it outwards. A bit like this too. Move it to the sides. Like this. All right, nearly perfect. So now what we need to do is obviously we need to reduce the height of it. And we're going to have to reduce the thickness too, like so. Once that's done, make sure that it fits on a mesh. As you you can see over here, it's hovering a tiny bit on the front. So we're going to select these faces, and we're going to move it using proportional editing just to move it inwards, like so. So now it's fitting more or less pretty well on the leg. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to mesh, symmetrize again. Once that's all done, we can do mesh, shading, smooth faces. And now everything is smooth, and as you can see, it looks fine. Looks perfectly fine. And oh, as you can see over here, it's not perfectly connected to the arm, so we're just going to change this. If we're gonna want to do the same thing to the other side, so make sure to press the X over here. This is just going to mirror your changes, just like so. It should have done the same thing on the other side. Yep. So once that's done, everything looks good. There's just one or two last things to add, which would be the color, obviously, on the top, and the boat diamond thing over here. So to add the boat thing, we're just gonna add mesh. Now we're gonna create a plane. Gonna triangulate it, just like this, and we're gonna just delete one of the faces for a triangulation. Yep, delete faces. Gonna select this single face. Gonna press RX 90, just move it to the right angle. I'll shrink it. That's weird. Why is that happening? Oh, right. Okay. So, just move this downwards. Move this over here. Move this on the colors, like how it looks in the art. So just move this on the armband thingies. I don't know what they're called. Just shrink them. We're gonna rotate them to make them fit. And we're gonna duplicate them. We're gonna press S-1 to flip them. Like so. And we're gonna select both faces. And we're gonna move them around a bit just to make sure they're not clipping. And we're gonna extrude outwards just a tiny bit, just to give them a little bit of thickness. And now we can just duplicate them around too. So press Helm, Shift-D, duplicate. And now we're also going to symmetrize these ones. So make sure to mesh, symmetrize. Make sure to select the correct side. So in this case, -x to +x doesn't work. So we're doing +x to -x. Just move around a bit more like this. All right. Okay, so once that's done, that's our mesh mostly complete. Yeah, we do have a color to do, so let me just do the color real quick. Once again, we're just gonna select this, move it forwards. We're gonna reduce its height around the neck. And we're gonna select this. We're gonna just like so. Okay, so once you're, so just, make sure, move around the vertices, make sure that it's not clipping around the neck, if possible. So over here, as you can see, it's not rotated perfectly correctly, so we're just going to rotate it a bit, make sure that it fits. Just like so. Okay, once that's done, so yeah, the mesh is properly made this time. I'm not going to finish the belt. It's not very important. Might finish it later, but not for now. So what we want to do is, as you can see, each of its meshes should use more or less the same texture. So what we're going to do is we're going to select one of these. Actually, we're going to select every mesh, and we're going to move this mesh to a new collection. We're going to call it band, and we're going to move each mesh. We're going to move this mesh over here. So once this mesh is over here, you selected everything, as you can see. So what we're going to do is going to press P, and then we're going to separate by loose part. So as you can see now, this has separated each mesh to its own thing. We're going to make sure just to hide the triangles here for what we're about to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to UV1. We're going to UV one of these. So we're going to select this, for example, and we're going to make sure that UVs are not messed up. So we're just going to edge mark seam on this part. And once that's done, we go into UV editing and we unwrap. And as you can see, that gives us a UV. I'm just going to add an extra UV around the middle part over here, for example, just to make it sure that it's perfectly straight and not circular. Just makes it easier. Okay, so once that's done, select this, and then we're going to select every other mesh that has a similar shape to this. So these are all the same mesh, right? This is all the same mesh, except that we edited it a tiny bit. We edited its shape a tiny bit, but the number of vertices is the same and the structure is the same. So once this is done, we've selected everything, and we're going to make sure that everything has the same UV, so we don't have to texture paint each one individually. So we're going to go over here, and we're going to go into Object, and we're going to select Transfer Data, and we're going to do Copy UV Maps. And this is just going to copy the same UV map to every single one of these. So now if I select everything, as you can see, it's all in the same area, it's all the same UV map. This is an incredibly useful tool for if you're making chains or something like that. So instead of having to individually texture paint each chain, you can only you have to texture paint it once, and that's all. So once that's done, we can go into layout. We can join all this back together again, and make sure we're going to select all this. We're going to join it back too. Actually, for these, we can also do the same thing. We can also do the same trick. So just edit a UV unwrap. Actually, no, we don't have to UV every single one of these. They will show the same UV anyways, because they're not complex meshes. It's just a single triangle. So once that's done, just Control J them all together like this. And finally, we're going to be UVing the more complicated parts. So we're going to be firstly, actually, we only have one part that we need to UV left now, because if you remember correctly, the arms and the legs here we took from the base body, so they're just using the same UVs as the ones on the base body, like this. Except for the shoes down here, we're going to have to UV the shoes, but we'll do that in a bit. So firstly, over here, what we're going to do is make sure the mesh shading smooth. Just make sure that this looks good. All right. So once that's done, just select. We only need one single. UV seam, and that will be on the side here, below the top breast thingy. I don't know what it's called. So just select the mesh edge on the side, like I did, and then what you want to do is you just want to mesh. No, you want to go to edge, and you just want to mark seam again. So once that's done, go into UV editing, and then just unwrap again, and now you have a perfectly unwrapped mesh. What's this looking like? Why does this look like this? Is that you? What the fuck's going on with you? Okay, that's interesting. Hang on a sec. I'm just trying to figure out what the hell's going on here. Jesus Christ. Okay, so that's interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Right. What's going on here? Don't fully comprehend what's happening right now. Do apologize. Let's see. Let's press L, UV. Okay, fine. We're just gonna add one extra edge loop over here to all this just to make sure that it works properly. So L, UV, and then we're just gonna unwrap. And it still looks messed up. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. That's not, it doesn't have to be detailed anyways. So once that's done, now all that's left for us to UV is the shoes, actually. So we're gonna go over here. And we're just gonna use, we're gonna have to select, we're gonna have to make some seams. So the seams we're gonna make is that we're just gonna create one on the back over here, for example. So we're gonna select this all the way down here. And all the way up here. Nope. Like this. Then we're gonna do edge, mark seam again. Unwrap. And now as you can see, it's unwrapped the shoe pretty well. Pretty well, considering everything. Looks pretty good. So we're gonna just mesh, symmetrize this mesh again to the other side. Just shrink these, I'm gonna move them around a bit, just so if they don't overlap with the leg ones. Like so. So once that's done, this is actually everything you need, so everything ready. What we need to do now is we need to, we're gonna texture paint it. We're gonna texture paint the mesh. So let's do that now, shall we? Okay, so we're gonna go into flat texture mode, flat, and we're gonna create a texture for each one. So firstly, I'm just gonna save before we do this because I could mess up on the texturing part. Reduce the mods. So once that's done, well, firstly, we're just gonna do a band because that's probably gonna be the fastest to do. Actually, before we do that, let's just need to edit these so they don't overlap. We've moved forwards in life. So just like so. Now we're just going to be texture painting. So for base texture color, we're just going to take a scarlet rose kind of color, like on the mesh itself. So we're going to select new. We're going to create a new material. We're going to press image texture. I'm going to create new, and we'll choose a scarlet texture, like I said, something like this maybe. Do we want to make it brighter? We're going to want to make it like this. Do we need it 1024? We don't need it 1024, so we're just going to make it by 12. Yeah, and now we've created a UV map. So we've created a UV map for this, for example. We're just going to select this and make them a bit wider. Just to try and give as much space to your UVs as possible, because it just gives them more space to grow. Once that's done, we're just going to texture paint two face loops. So we're gonna texture paint these because on the mesh you can see that there's a single little darker part around the sides over here. So we're just gonna do the same thing. It also just adds a bit of texture to our thing. So like so, we're gonna press texture paint. Select the little paint mask over here. So now we're just going to be able to paint on the part we selected. And we're going to select the same color. We're going to make it darker. Select same color. Make sure you're on paint bucket. We don't have to use the brush this time around. And then just paint bucket the part over here. And just like that, we have a little outline on the mesh like this. Helps it stand out a bit. Oh, what's going on over here? Okay, so over here it seems like the textures are a bit screwed up. That's just fine. we'll select these ones and we'll symmetrize them over again. So on these over here, just select them, and we're just going to delete them. And we're going to select these ones on that look fine. And we're going to mesh symmetrize them like so. And as you can see, it looks fine. Once that's done, make sure everything looks good. Okay. And as you can see, there is like a little bit of shine on the thing, so we can texture that if you want. So what we're going to do is we're just going to select one, and we're going to texture paint. And over here, we're going to use some white. Use some plain white. And we're going to set its strength to like 0.2, fall off to like a soft fall off like this. Now, as you can see, there is now just a slight like shine on the mesh. Just because it, helps it give it like a little bit of texture. Like so. And we're gonna make it a bit darker over here. So a bit darker on the other sides, just like so. You don't have to do it like I do. Over here, for example, I might actually just multiply this. So we're gonna multiply over here. Yep. We're gonna multiply, we're gonna make it set it to 0.4 maybe. Just on the bottom, like so. So once that's done, we're just gonna move onwards. We're gonna go to the boat parts over here. Gonna select this. And over here on this part, we're just gonna go into paint bucket. Gonna press S. We're just gonna paint bucket this again. So we're just gonna make sure that it's got like a silver-like color like this, and that's it. That's it for the boat part. So that's the texture on the bands done. We don't have to do much more than we already did. It looks pretty good. Obviously, make sure as always that the UVs look good. For example, here it's symmetrized, so it doesn't look as good. So we're just going to symmetrize this one again. The texture didn't look great, is what I'm saying. So we're going to have to symmetrize it again. So we're just going to mesh, symmetrize like this. And this is perfect. So what we want to do now is we're going to texture paint the other parts. The other parts are mostly just black. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try and create a little shine like they do over here. Just a little shine on the texture. But firstly, what we want to do is we're gonna just select this part, and we're going to press image texture, new, and we're gonna create it mostly black, nearly black. We're not gonna create it completely black. We're gonna set it to like 0.1 lightness. So it looks very nearly black, really. But we're just gonna name this no, hang on a sec. Before I do that, I'm gonna create a leg material, and we're gonna create a new texture again, and just black like this. So we're gonna create a bit of a shine on the texture, because right now it doesn't look very detailed at all. So to create a bit of a shine, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do like we did before. We're just gonna go over here. We're gonna press S, and we're gonna set it to like 0.2, and we're just gonna move our brush down here like this. We're gonna make it a bit lighter, just like so. Maybe make sure the fall off is a bit more sharp. No, not like that. Actually, we're just gonna create a soft fall off. Okay. Yeah. So once that's done, we're gonna do 0.2 like this. Just like so. As you can see, it drops off because it doesn't texture all the way around. So what we're going to do is we're going to use soften, and we're going to soften the sides like this. This will soften it for us. We'll just make sure that there's a gradient there. Just like so. Right, it's fine. We're going to do the same thing over here. Soften again. So once that's done, as you can see, it didn't copy over to the other side. That's because I forgot to press the mesh symmetry thing, which is a bit annoying, but it's not something we can't fix pretty quickly. Just select the UVs on the mesh over here. Actually, do we want to do that? Sure, why not? And we're just going to make sure that it overlaps with the other mesh that we have. So just -1, move it over. Like so. Make sure UVs overlap. You can move it a bit just to give it a bit of originality. I don't really care, so I'm just going to do it like this. So once that's done, as you can see, there's now like a little texture, a little gradient thing on the texture. On the back, you can have it a bit darker too, like before. Just going to make it a bit darker around the knees. We're going to texture paint the knees a tiny bit. We're just going to create a border like so. And there's usually lines around the knees, around the knee parts. So we're just going to do that over here. We're going to stabilize stroke. Like this. Looks fine. So once that's done, so we're just gonna so on the knees like this, and then we're gonna what should we do now? Gonna add just a tiny darker gradient, just a tiny one. 0.05. We're just gonna have one running down the back like this. Right, that's good. So actually, let me just change this like this. There we go. You want to do that? Doesn't really matter actually. Just you can do it if you want. You can do it. You can skip it if you want. I don't really care. So once that's done, make sure that on the shoes, shoes texture looks nice too. So just make sure it softens properly, like so. Once that's done, that's the texture for the legs done. It's not brilliant. It's not a great texture. I'm no texture master. So we're just gonna name this leg. That's just gonna be called the leg texture. So once that's done, make sure to also save the bracelet one because I forgot to do that. And sometimes Blender will just remove the texture you made. So as soon as you finish the texture or like you've made some progress on the texture, make sure to save it. Because you might lose your progress later, which is very frustrating. But yeah. So once that's done, now we have to do the well, we have to do the arm texture and the main body texture. So for the main body texture, we're going to use a 1000 by 1000 image. And we're just going to call it chest part, and we're going to name the material chest too. So once that's done, on the texture, we want to make sure let's see, how am I going to do this? I'm going to make it a bit brighter on the original mesh. We're going to make it brighter. We're going to make it 0.15, let's say 0.15, just like so. And we're going to make shadows using this. But firstly, remember that there's a pink part on the top, so make sure that you selected that. Go into texture paint modes, paint bucket, we're just going to use the same color as we did on the bands. So we can just select that. And just like so, we've got like a little pink part on the top. Looks pretty nice. And now we are going to texture the breasts. So to texture the breasts, make sure to use shadows. I'm going to be using shadows. So over here, in the center part, there should be a texture. There should be a shadow. Make sure that your shadow is sharp and not soft. So to make it sharp, you can just have a curve like this on the fall off. You have to constantly meddle with the fall off, by the way. So always meddle with the fall off. Once that's done, we're just going to texture the bottom of the breast like this. As you can see, it's a bit sucky at the moment. It looks a bit stupid. But don't worry, we're going to be fixing that later. At the moment, we just need to texture it like this. We're gonna make the texture darker. Gonna use 0.4. Perfect. So just make sure the texture is darker like this. Gonna select this. Like so. There we are. You can select the exact one. Takes a bit longer, which is why I just try to go for something that looks good enough. It's up to you, really. Not a lot of people will complain if the color's off a tiny bit, but if you believe that you should make it that way, then go ahead. I'm not going to stop you. So right now, what we need to do to make the texture to make the shadow not look stupid, what we have to do is we have to make sure the shadow looks sharp. So we're going to zoom in and we're going to remove the edges like so. We zoom in and remove it. It's going to look sharp on the sides like so, like this. And we don't need it all the way up here. So we're just going to remove it up here like this. It's like when you do a haircut, really. It's like doing a haircut. You're shaving off like the last sides, the last bit of it, like so. There we are. We're gonna make a shadow a bit thinner under the breasts like this. Actually, let's see. We're gonna make it over here like this. Yeah, perfect. No, really? Wait, hang on a sec. What? Okay, so we need to. There we go. We're just trying to make it, shadow on the breasts and everything. Trying to make it sharp and all that. There's a bit of clipping here. It's quite annoying. I'm just gonna fix it real quick. We're gonna add the extra edge loop just like that. And oh yeah, it's fixed our problem for the most part. Just need to move it outwards, like so. There we are. Okay, once that's done, continue texturing like usual. Texture paint. So over here, it's not good. So we're just gonna. There we are. We're gonna soften it on the bottom over here. Well, for the moment, this texture will do. Actually, we're just gonna change this. We're gonna select this. We're gonna make it a bit brighter. I'm gonna set it to 0.1. And we're just gonna create a lighter texture on the bottom like this. So I'm just gonna, what I'm doing here is I'm just making a lighter shadow underneath the darker shadow to make it look like still a shadow that continues like so. So now it looks a bit better than before. So you might want to try and mix and match shadows, shadow intensities, and all that. So once that's done, I need to texture the sides, so I need to make sure that it looks like there are some folds on the sides. I'm going to select black, go 0.4 again. Now we're just going to texture around some dark parts on the sides like this. On the bottom over here too, we also need to make sure that there is a tiny little shadow on the bottom of the belly. Like so. Make sure there's texture over here, just to create like something that looks a bit like a fold. Just something like this should do. Obviously, also around the navel, around the belly button area and thingy, whatever navel, there's going to be a shadow too there, just as it dips in for the navel part. So we're just going to create texture for that real quick. We're gonna do like this, 0.2, like that, and we're just gonna make sure that it's sharp on the top and on the sides, like that. And now on the back, we're just gonna add a few more folds. Gonna add a bit of a shadow just over here on the skull area. So we're just gonna add a bit of shadow like this. We're going to move it down. Gonna add 0.2. We're just gonna create fall off, soft fall off. Just like that. That should work fine. Add a bit of folds on the back too. 0.4. So fall off like this. Gonna add a bit of folds on the back. So just some quick stuff like this. Doesn't really matter where you put it. Usually, well, it does matter where you put it. Try and put it in areas where you know there are going to be folds. For example, on the back, there's going to be like one or two. Like so. On the side, there's going to be another one, probably just a bit further down. And down here like this too. So once that's done, we're just going to make them sharp. Like this. Same here. Just going to make it sharp. There we are. And we're going to add one extra fold here, and then it should be done. Just over here on the back, a bit higher than the other one. And just like so. There we are. So once that's done, just go into image modes, make sure you select your texture, and now save it again. So we're just going to save this one as chest. This is going to be saved as a chest image. And now final part we need to texture is the arms. So the arms, it's just some folds on it as usual. Actually, we're gonna take a little detour real quick, because I'm gonna explain something to you that'll be very useful in the future, I'm sure. So pay attention to this part. This is something you might find yourself using often in the future. So say, for example, that we wanted to make a chain on this part here, a chain on the daggers. Well, what we can do is we're going to use something called a Bezier curve. So on this Bezier curve, we're just going to shape it like something that's free flowing. So we're just going to do something like this, move it around. We're going to change it like this. As you can see, you can see like how a Bezier curve moves. It's just these bars here determine like the segment's shape. So you can make them longer, you can make them shorter, stuff like that. So anyways, once that's done, once you've created this thing for the daggers over here, We're just gonna move them up, gonna move them around, we're gonna shrink them. So like so. You might want to chain for that. You might want to chain for that. How are you going to make a chain for it? Because do you have to make each individual chain like we've been doing so far? The answer is no. The answer is that you make one chain and you're just going to copy it over a bunch of times, but not manually. So firstly, what we're going to do is we're just going to select a plane. So to make a chain, what I like to do is I make a plane. I make it a bit wider. I press I. This is going to create an inset face. So this is just going to make it it's going to make a smaller face within the face we already have, like so. We're going to delete that one. We're going to select the mesh, extrude it upwards, and then what we want to do is to make the chain look like an actual chain, we're just going to press Control B. We're going to select everything, select all the vertices, and just press Control B. And we only need one segment most of the time. Just try and keep one segment, because if you have too many vertices, it's going to cause performance issues. Because in a chain you're going to have a lot of these meshes. So once that's done, you're going to have to shrink it down quite a bit. Make sure that it's like around the size you want on your chain. So we're going to shrink it down. Make sure that you shrink it along the 3D cursor, because otherwise it's going to look wrong. So once that's done, so like around this size, let's say, we're going to use a modifier for it. So to use a modifier for it, select Add Modifier. Firstly, we're going to add the Array modifier, and we're going to select Fit Curve, and we're just going to use the curve that we used. So as you can see now, it just creates a bunch of duplicates for us. And now we're going to move each one onto the vertical curve. Just kidding, we're going to also use another modifier called a curve modifier. And for that, we're also just going to select our vertical curve. And just like that, we have a chain on over here, as you can see. You might be able to see that there is a problem with it because they're all rotated along the same axis. So in that case, what you can do is you create an empty like this, and you're just going to press RX 90, and then over here on this modifier, you're going to create an object offset, and you're going to select empty. And just like that, you've got a chain that's moving around like this, and we can select open and now it's actually chained to each other. As you can see, it's not perfectly centered. That's because of how our original mesh is. So if we want to fix this, what we have to do is we have to go into edit mode, and we have to actually move the mesh down. It has to be like at the point of origin. So at the 0, 0, 0 of everything, it has to be perfectly centered, like so. And then once that's done, you'll see that the chain is actually perfectly linked now. And that's how you make a chain in Blender. So yeah, I hope you guys listen to that. It's quite important. Yeah. So we're just going to create 4.7. And now it's properly linked, as you can see. If we go to this material, studio, a properly linked chain, perfect chain. And it just goes around like this, and that's it. So yeah, we can always use that later if we want to actually make the weapons. But for now, we're just going to continue onwards. So anyways, like I said, we're going to texture the arms. So texturing the arms is pretty easy to do. What we're going to be doing is we're going to do like before. So we're going to create a new material, and we're going to name it arms. We're going to create a new image texture. We're going to name it arms 2. We're going to create it 5 by 512, and we're going to have it same lightness as before. And we're going to add some shadows to it, add some little creases to it, just like so. Before you do that, just make sure that the UVs are looking fine. UVs are looking okay, but obviously, as you can see, they're a little bit far apart and they're a little small. So we can select individual origins. We can press S, and as you can see, it scales each one of them individually. Just gonna rotate on its side. So as we move it downwards, same thing over here. I'm gonna rotate on its side, move it upwards. So once that's done, I'm gonna go over here. We're gonna texture paint for that, and we're just gonna add some creases to the arms like we did before. So over here, gonna create black. Gonna add 0.4. The fall off will be sharp like it is already, and we're just gonna create a some little lines on the elbows, like on the original mesh. So just some lines like this, 2 lines each, 2 lines on the front, 2 lines on the back, like so. Yeah, looks fine. So once that's done, we're gonna create a shadow. So just create like, you know, it's like a shadow like around your thingy. So it's gonna go around a bit like this. Same thing over here. We're gonna create another shadow, just goes around like this. So once that's done, we're gonna select this, and we're going to just create, you know, some creases like this. We're gonna create a little crease above too, just a little one around the elbows. So 0.4 again, just like this, and we're gonna make this sharp too. Up, up, just around the center like that. Oh yeah. So now that's done, we're just gonna save all this. Texture paint, go on the arms, image, save as, image user arms. Okay, so now that's done, we're going to rename the vertex groups to fit Yelan. So firstly, just to make everything here look correct. Well, yeah, you can, well, it's not really coloring through UV maps. What I'm doing is I'm selecting the mesh and I'm going into texture paint mode and it shows me the UVs like this. But yeah, you can actually save the image with UV map too, but I don't usually do that because there's no point in it. But yeah, so now what we want to do is, yeah, we want to I'm just going to add the texture to the avatar lady body, like so. Here we are, perfect. And before we export, let me just nope, that's the wrong thing. P selection. Just gonna hide this. Don't need it. Okay, so now what we want to do is we're on the final part here. We're going to be renaming the bones to fit with the rest of the body. Firstly, before we do anything, for some reason on the avatar lady body, there is an extra pair of the vertex groups on the legs. We can't use that, so what we're going to do is we're going to use a script I like to call the bone deletion script, which is also what its name. So select this, and then on the bones we don't want to use, just select them, Control V the script, and just run the script, and now it's removes those bones. Oh, I forgot a mesh. I have forgotten a mesh. Oh wait, no, I haven't forgotten a mesh. I'll just use texture paint that later. So for now, what we want to do is we're gonna rename each of these. So as always, like I did last time, go into Blender, go create a new instance of Blender, and in that new instance of Blender, you're going to import Yelan. So Yelan should be over here, Yelan. So as you import Yelan, you're going to move this over here to the side, and we're going to use her vertex groups as a guide to rename our bones. So firstly, we're going to start at 0, and we're going to work from there. So as long as there's nothing, we can skip the vertex group, so we don't need it. And okay, so over here, breasts. So the first one is the breast vertex groups. So let's see, on this one, are there 2 or is it a 1 vertex group for the breast? Let's see, shall we? Vertex group. There are 2 vertex groups. All right, perfect, actually. So over here, we're going to go into edit mode, and we're going to rename each vertex groups with its name. So over here, it'll be 14, 15, continue, 16, 17, shift and right click to find the nearest VG. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, but I think you need to select a bone for that, and I didn't have this. You need to select a skeleton for entering the weight pane modes, and I hadn't done that. So yeah. Anyways, continue. So now we're gonna have to rename this. So the hip is usually the first vertex group that's not a physics bone to be named. So usually it'll be pelvis twist on the base body. So continue onwards, downwards, down. Okay, so firstly, the arm. So we need to select the upper twist R arm, and continue on to the next one, the upper twist 2 arm. Same thing over here, 60. It's it's basic modding this part. We're not doing anything special really. F2 to rename the bone. Interesting. Ah, yes. I didn't know that. You see? Okay, interesting. Okay. Well, you learn something new every day. Right? So once that's done, we want this one. So okay, good. Nice shortcut. All right, we're gonna use that. So F2 to rename the bone. And I've renamed the wrong bone. Shit. 6, 4. So I'm gonna have to rename that one lip again later. But for now, we're gonna continue. Never undo bone name changes because it can cause issues for some reason. So F2, 6, 6. And we're gonna continue this way. Okay, so I'm gonna have to. For the fingers, it's faster to just not do F2 because if they follow an order, so it's easier to just use your fingers to follow the order. 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, and 81. So yeah, what we're doing right now is we're just renaming vertex groups. And yeah. Once that's done, continue renaming bones. So 82. Yelan has quite a few, clearly. But it shouldn't take that long. You know, the more you practice, the faster it's gonna get, really. So yeah, you just need to practice, and that's it. 85. Gonna go down here. 2, 86. Same thing over here. Yeah, so now we rename the 87. And then we're going to rename this to 64 again. Continue renaming. So 88 now on the knee. Oh shit. Okay. F2, 88. gonna go over here. F2 89. And now we're gonna rename these again. So select everyone and 90, 91, 92. Oh shit. 92, 93, 90, 94. By the way, if you have questions, you can put up your hand and I'll make you speak. That's right, I can make you speak. I have that power. Let's continue. 101. 102. I'll make you speak. I'll make you open your mouth. I'll make you form words. Alright. Raise hand disabled. Why is your raise hand disabled? Hang on a sec. Edit channel. Permissions. Why can't I allow request to speak? Huh? I can't allow people to raise to speak. Oh, okay, now people can raise to speak. Now people can ask questions. Now people can ask me questions. Come on. Bring it. I can ask questions. Anyways, let's continue. You should be able to raise your hand now. Let's continue. 104. 105 over here for feet. And 106 for the arms. 107. 108. Nearly there. 109. And 110, 111, 112. Those are the last three. Alright, perfect. So once that's done, just double check that everything is renamed properly. Go into the vertex groups over here. Just make sure everything's renamed. Okay, interesting. Why is this not renamed? This should be 93. So we're just gonna go into edit mode. Select it, and it's 93. Okay, interesting. The fuck's going on? '90, 91. Okay, for some reason I made it 93 now. 93. Alright, perfect. So once that's done, make sure that your vertex groups are ready. Just gonna double check like this. Okay, interesting. So we're also gonna have to delete these ones, it seems. Didn't really want to, but sure, whatever, I guess. Let's see. Relations. Okay, so select these two, and we're just going to script. We're going to run the script again. Do we have to rename them again? We have to rename the files. So the first one is 85. And the other one is... What is an easy way to do this if the model you are doing doesn't have a rig? Like if you make your own base body. Well, in that case, you'd have to rig it manually. There is I did do a weighting lesson the other day. You could try and go look at that. What I'd recommend is if you have a base body that isn't weighted, you'd create a skeleton and then you'd use automatic weight paint and you'd adjust from that. You can use a Verigify plugin to create a skeleton for you. Okay, fly cloak root. Is there anything there? Yes, there is. So we're just gonna delete this too. like the group, there we are. Like recruits goes to Facebook. Okay. So like root done. Okay, once it's done, we're just going to we're gonna join everything together now. So join everything together. We're gonna rename them so that they all have the same UV name. Xy. Where's this the Genshin one? So yeah, just make sure that they all have the same UV name. And once that's done, we're just gonna Shift, Control J, all of them. Oh yeah, we're gonna duplicate them first actually because we need to apply the modifiers before we join them. So just in case, as a backup, we're going to be duplicating them. Just like so. So we're just going to duplicate. And we're going to object convert to mesh. This will just apply all the modifiers we used. And once that's done, we're going to use a data transfer modifier. So we're going to sort by name. And we're going to use we're going to use a fill VG gap script, fill VG gaps. So over here, and on the GitHub, you should be able to find it. So just use it, run it once, and you should be able to have all your vertex groups. Now we're going to go use data transfer. We're going to select body. And we're going to use vertex data, vertex groups, nearest face interpolated, Control A. And now we should have vertex groups on our mesh. So if we go into weight paint mode, we have, yeah, we do. Look, we have vertex groups. Well done. Well done, us. All right. Once that's done, we're just going to we're gonna merge all the materials that we have. So, for example, on this part over here, we want to merge it all. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the Mat Combiner plugin, this plugin over here. So we're going to generate material list, deselect everything that isn't needed, and then we're going to save Atlas to downloads. Once that's done, as you can see, it works fine. We're going to rename the UV map on the base body, and we're going to Shift Control J both of them, like so. And now, actually, before we do that, let's just save one more time. So now it looks fine. So we have a material atlas and we have a, what's this? What's this doing here? Right, weird. We're just gonna remove that. I don't know what that's doing there. So once that's done, we're just gonna, okay, interesting. Oh, that was interesting, was that? I just want to double check something. Just want to double check that the mesh is still there. Okay, still fine. All right. So anyways, continue. So now that's done. All that's left for us to do is we're going to UV the two textures together here. So material atlas 01 and matte body. So to do that, we're just going to open both textures in paint.net and we're just going to merge them together. Once again, you don't have to use paint.net. I use paint.net because I'm more used to it. But if you're able to use something else, then do so. What I need to do now is I'm just gonna, we're not doing anything too complicated, so paint.net just does fine in this case. But if you're doing more complicated texture painting, like patterns and stuff like that, then I recommend Photoshop. But over here, we're just going to be using the yeah, we're just going to be using paint.net. So just select the texture. We're going to be using the base body texture, obviously. So it's just Control C it, and we're just going to Control V it onto the Atlas texture we have. we don't need it to be 1000 by 1000. So we're just going to save it. We're going to put it in a corner. We're going to save it. Do it 2. Once that's done. No, can't call. Alright. So Atlas 0642. As you can see, it's not UV properly, so we need to go do that now. Sucks, man. It's just UV edited. So it's going to be in the corner, remember? So we can select the 2D cursor. We can move the 2D cursor to the correct corner it was at. And we can just press scale, and we're going to scale downwards by about 0.25, I think it is. So once that's done, oh, interesting. What's that? Hang on a sec. I'm just going to double check what we're doing. This 6.2. Okay, it is a bit too small, so we're just going to scale up by 1.5, I think, or 1.3 actually, like so. And once that's done, we're just going to, I think it's ready for export now actually, so we're going to export it. Before we export, we're just going to do one thing. We're going to remove the vertices on the body that we don't need. So for example, ones behind the legs. This is both for optimization and also because it'll just fix clipping. So for example, just deselect everything that you're not going to delete. So for example, this too. I can't delete these. But I can delete the arms here. Well, most of them. So just select the arms. Now we're going to deselect the parts that need to remain. So these again. Once that's done, just P to separate them instead of deleting them. Who knows? We might need them again later. Just hide them. As you can see, it doesn't change anything because well, we've hidden it already. So there you are. So once that's done, we're gonna file. We're gonna export. No, actually, before we export, we need to merge the. We need to make sure that it has all the correct properties. So what we're going to do is we're just going to select the Elan. We're gonna Control C all of our meshes. We're gonna Control V them into the blend we have. We're gonna delete the Elan body. In fact, we're going to delete everything in the Elan body, the Elan dress, and the Elan extra because we don't need them. Stick vertices. And we might have to delete some of the head mesh too. Not the hair itself, obviously, the everything below it. So that includes this. Just check our UVs. We're gonna go. Make sure to select everything. Yep. Just select everything there. This is our wolf thingy, so we're just gonna remove this. Actually, stone. It's not hers. By the way, no. Oh. So select this. Yeah, it's better to be safe than sorry, so always make sure to back up your stuff, even though you probably won't use it in the future. So yeah, wait. Anyways, let's just select the list. P, select. Once that's done, we're gonna hide this mesh too. And we only have this now remaining. So once that's left, all we need to do is we need to export the mesh. So we're just gonna Control J both of these to make sure that it has the correct you know color and stuff properties. If you don't do this, there's probably going to be an error on export. Right, so once that's done, we're going to save as just one last time. Reduce the mod 3, and we're going to save as file, export against your mod folder, and we're going to export it to Yelan, if I'm able to find her. Yelan. There we are. Yalon and export. It shouldn't take too long. Might take a little bit. Right, so once that's done, we're gonna go into we're gonna go to Lisa mod. We're gonna go into Yalon. Yalon mod. We're just gonna copy paste everything in it. So just Control C. If you don't have a Yalon folder, then you're gonna have to make one. Otherwise, I already have one. So yeah, here we are. I'm pretty sure Yalon has old hashes actually. So let me just update it real quick. Player character data. So I'm gonna have to download the latest hashes from here. Just Control C this. And if you want to download the GitHub directory, you have to use the site. So GitHub directory, for example. You probably won't have to do this. I do because I'm lazy and I don't update anything until I need to. So once that's done, we're gonna go over here. Player character data, Yalon. No wait. Yalon. There we go. Replace all. So we're just updating everything with new hashes and stuff. Once that's done, we want to go into we're going into Blender again. We're just going to re-export. File, export into mod folder. There we are. Okay, good. Yalon mods. Control C, Control A. I'm just selecting everything. Find a Yalon folder you have replaceable, and go into. We're gonna go into Paint on it again. Remember this texture that we had? Well, remember to invert the alpha of it, because we don't need emissions. File, save as, Control V. And we're gonna save as Yalon body diffuse. Make sure it's sRGB for diffuse and linear for light maps. So, and then over here we're gonna make a light map real quick. So remember that the pink down here is metallic. So for metals, what you want to do is use the value 127, 255, 127, 255. So 255, 127, 255. So basically what red does, red is metallic, blue is like gloss kind of, and green is like sharp shadows. It's not very well known what green is. Ambient occlusion maybe. But all you need to know is that reds, put it to max if you're using a metallic texture. Blue, if you want something to be glossy, then set blue to max. And green is more or less always at 127, unless you're making it a shadow, in which case it can go darker. And yeah. So once that's done, we're just gonna paint bucket with the value we have. Same thing over here. Just gonna quickly paint bucket with value we have, which will be 127, 0. So it's gonna be green. As always, classic green. Over here, same thing. I'm gonna use this. And we're going to paint bucket green. Once that's done, hide the last layer and invert the. No wait. So we're just gonna invert this part. Remember to invert anything that's on an output. So that includes this part here. We have to invert this too. Adjustments, invert alpha. Yep, adjustments, invert alpha. Then file, save as, diffuse, DDS. Remember to select as light map. Save, yes, and make sure that it's linear, not sRGB. Remember, linear for light maps. Same thing. Anyways, we're gonna continue. Migoto, yes. Go to Genshin. Oh yeah, actually, before we do that, we have to run one last script. This is because I'm lazy. You shouldn't do this, but I do. I'm gonna use the set outline script. Like so. Control C, and we're just gonna Control V it into our Yalon mod folder. Indeed. Python print set outlines.py picnics 85. Once that's done, just launch. Non, ben j'arrive. Ok, donc 10-15 minutes, j'arrive. Okay. So I'm just gonna move this game to another screen real quick because I do have some interesting mods. So I'm just gonna switch the Connie to Yelan only, and I'll move the screen back on. So what we want to do is, yeah, so I'm just going to change the poly. No, actually, I don't need to change poly to Yelan since I already have Yelan. And here we are. Here is Yelan. Here is her. Here is she. Person thing. As you can see, there is some clipping, and the weight on the shoes is a bit wrong. So let's just fix that real quick. To fix it, all we need to do is we're going to go over here. And I believe we kept the feet by accident. Yes, we did. So select for the feet. Just hide them again. We don't need them. Then over here, we're gonna just select one shoe. So in our case, we're going to select this one. Oh my god, are you kidding me right now? Seriously. Right. Of course I did that. Give me 1 sec. I'm just gonna shoot someone. Once that's done, there's a gap, it seems. There's a gap in the mesh because when I did symmetrize earlier, I wasn't paying attention. So to fix that gap, all we need to do is we're going to select all the vertices around the gap, and we're just going to press F to fill. I don't have to do anything more than that. Once that's done, make sure to do the same thing on the other sides. You have to be careful when using symmetrize, otherwise things like this will happen. Like this. Once that's done, you have to make sure go into weight paint modes. Go find the feet vertex group you were using. Literally can't with this thing. Where the fuck is the fucking... Jesus Christ. Wait a sec, what is this? Right, of course. Of course. Anyways, ignore what I was saying earlier. Go over here. Do the same thing I just did, but do it better. So once that's done, just remove the vertices on the side here. Select all this. P. Separate. Once again, select the vertices on the edge of the gap. So in our case, it will be these ones here. over here like this. Same thing on the other sides. Object, edit modes. Fill. Once that's done, just make sure that it's in the correct place. Like so. Okay, and now go into weight paint modes and adjust the weight to make sure it fits. So make sure that you don't have anything on the other side. Right, perfect. So once that's done, we can join the spec together again. We can re-export. And everything should work just fine. As you might have seen that the color of this yellow skin was off. It's probably because our light map uses different values. So you have to double check, and yeah, it does. So what we do is we select color picker. We're just gonna go over here, select the body. This is what the body was. We're just going to adjustment invalid alpha by like 127, which is usually the value used in these light maps. Once that's done, file, save. Okay, good. Now we're gonna copy over the files from the mod folder again. So, Cindy, click on ancient set outlines. .py thickness 85. Yeah, look, and it's still broken. Interesting. But you get the gist. Ready. No, it do be like that. It is what it is. So just P. I'll take a final look, but if I don't see anything here, then I'm not going to do anything about it. Wait, right. Okay, so I do see something. Good to know. I'm just gonna add like so. Weights, normalize all. Okay, good. So now it should work fine. So we're just gonna show yellow body again. Control J. File. Export into mod photo. Finally. Whoops, I selected the wrong things. Like so. Do that. There we go. Now everything's fixed, well, except for one vertex it seems, but I don't really care about that. So yeah, that's Medusa more or less. That's the mesh, kind of, in a way. I seem to have forgotten to delete some things, so we just do that. So yeah, this is obviously being recorded, so it'll be posted later, but if you have any questions now, feel free to ask them. Yeah. Any questions? Ugh. Like I said, you have to make sure and pay attention to a light map. You have to make sure a light map has the same values as the original ones. So for example, if your color for the skin is alpha 255 green, then you have to make sure that you're using the same thing on your light map for your mod. Otherwise the color will look grayer, it will look bluer, and it will look wrong. I only did vertex paint with a script, but vertex paint with a script was only the alpha of it. I wasn't actually using it for the any other color. Let's just check the UVs.
この世を渡り歩くにはより多くの身分を持った方が便利なの。君にもいくつか作ってあげ
So
よう
for
か。
this, what I'm doing right now is I'm just, adding some black part to the legs to not look weird. Hang on a sec. Maybe just real quick, just like so. And we're going to use texture paint. We're going to mask it. So we're only going to texture paint this part we selected. And I'm a bit lazy, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to use black, like so. Once that's done,
情報提供者から知らせがあったわ。うん。どうやらまた新たな変数が現れたようね。
you don't actually have to use a light dropper, the eyedropper most of the time. In the paint.net, if you see it, like how it's like inverted like this, it's most likely got a value of around 127 on the alpha. So all I did is I selected the original thing, the original value of... I selected a part over here and I just did adjustment in that alpha to 127. You can also use something like Photoshop to view the alpha channel. And that way you can also select the alpha channel value and paste it onto your own light map. Yeah. Okay, so let me just image save as this. Oh, once that's done, I'm gonna go into downloads.
この世を渡り歩くにはより多くの身分を持った方が便利なの。
And that alpha.
君にもいくつか作ってあげようか。
DDS. Say yes. Now if we look under, there should be skin, and now there is no skin. There we are. I'm a magician. Anyways. That's it, really. Oh yeah, actually, hang on, no, one last thing. Make sure to check the face orientation always on export, because as you can see, for example, this part is not facing the correct direction. So what we're going to do is we're just going to select it, and we're going to do mesh normal fit, and now file export into mod photo. Yeah, always check your face orientation, because otherwise it might screw things up. Like so. And there you are. Now it's looking fine. And that is, yeah, Medusa, Yelan, whatever, thingy. That's it, really. So yeah, really, last questions. Well, I've recorded a video to them, so I'm gonna post it later. I'm gonna post it on YouTube, and I'll post it in announcements, but I'll also post it in the beginning of my link tutorial. And yeah. Anyways, for now I'm gonna go, so see ya. I'm gonna stop recording now, actually.